Well, we're off to Buckeye, Arizona. Well, first stop into Michigan. As we're traveling, we have on the right the red 100-year shirt. We're headed to Buckeye, Arizona after our stop at Airport Council International in Florida. Here to see our friend who's always dressed up well in his Blackhawks gear. We're at Charlie 16 today. So that will be, our flight came in last night from Los Angeles, and we'll head that way here in a second after maybe we get some lunch here at O'Hare. But an easy breezy work slash fun trip. Slide on the board where our flight is. Ooh, South Bend. Call out to people back at South Bend. Julie Curtis. So many flights these days, it's not even worth pointing out anymore. It's just non-stop that they have going on down there. Now, I guess it would be under Fort Myers. Boarding closed. That's not us. We're at Charlie 16. It's good stuff here. Always fun at O'Hare in the early morning hours. Using the GoPro today, so that's always good. Got the Swiss Pack backpack, which is always good. But, all right, easy enough. Over and out. On the ass end of this, I think, I'm going to have to look up what this is. Brontosaurus, maybe? Blackhawks are turning 100 years old this year, just like Chicago Executive Airport is. Starbucks in tow.
Where?
Back to the Charlie days. We're going down to Andrew Wolonek's favorite tunnel at O'Hare, the United Tunnel. Fingers recording up or right or sideways or downways. It looks weird. Nice morning sunrise breakfast here. Tower in the background. There's our A321 Neo. Sweet. Well, we made it in, not bad. Arrival in here. Boy, I tell you what, this is my first time doing this, and I'm getting used to talking to a camera like a weirdo. There's people think you're talking to them sometimes. But this is not a bad view. Got a nice view of the rooftop. That's always pleasurable. And Bonita Springs, Florida. So it's not bad. Worked out pretty good. My Lyft driver, he was listening to music, which is good music. It wasn't bad music, but it was music that was the loudest I've ever heard in a vehicle. So that was good. That was something. But we'll be a quick stopover on our way to Arizona, so I won't put too much on from here. Here for the Airport Council International CEO meeting. Look at that. CEOing it up here in beautiful Florida. It is nice out. It was about, well, you saw when we left O'Hare. It was probably about in the 20s, I think, 20 degrees, and 78 here, I believe. But it's nice. It reminds me of vacationing with my my family back in the day. Of course, we mostly drove. We didn't really fly. Maybe that's my love for flying instead of driving. Well, I do love to drive, too. I don't know what the heck. Either way, as long as you're in Florida, right? Or anywhere points south. But I might have to hit up that pool area after I do some business here. Got to catch up on some emails and whatnot. And, all right. Over and out. Well, the Airport Council International meeting is about to wrap up, at least for me today. And then on our way to Arizona with cars blaring at that construction site. But Florida's been good. Good ACI. And looking forward to getting out to Arizona and seeing some airplanes. I've had enough talking about airports, but I better get down to the old breakfast nook and get the day going. And then tomorrow, we're on our way across the Gulf of Mexico. Or America, across the Gulf. As Lois Griffin said on Family Guy, what do we have? One of those horrible 7 a.m. flights? All right, we got temporary tunnels at RSW. Well, construction happened. I did a faux pas. Forgot to put my sunscreen out of my check-on carry-on when I came through. So out on that one. But what are you going to do? Here for a 7 a.m. flight. Conference as well. This is our first leg to Houston, which actually the director of Houston, director of this airport, they were both there. I don't really know. I was on a panel once with the director of Houston, but it's one of those situations where, you know, you kind of like get to know someone, but not really. And so you don't really say anything when you walk past them. but I'm going from RSW to Houston to Phoenix, then to the air show. So that starts now. I did have dinner though. I think it's Ken, I believe. I'm trying to remember now. Let's see. This is my memories failing me. Who we had dinner with. They are the people that designed or are designing some of the build out here at RSW, which is not bad. It's not a bad airport. My grandparents actually used to have a home down this way many moons ago, and they were over in the Sanibel area. But I remember distinctively my brother left the light on in my grandfather's Cadillac DeVille and ran the battery dead in the parking lot here at this very airport. Aikens Reales is the people doing it, at least some of the design here on the terminal, which it looks pretty decent. But, you know, now that I keep an eye, maybe there's something to snack on down that way. I don't know. We're going to find out as we get in this very early morning flight. But I will say it was a breeze. Besides me messing up the sunscreen, which, you know, with my bald head, I'm going to need some sunscreen in Arizona. I won't have to stop, pick some up. Where do we start walking here? See where we end up. Oh, there's a long line. We're going to C3, so not too far. After departures to Houston. Oh, Pittsburgh. Used to work there. Back in the day, they were here. IAH.
All areas within the terminal building are designated as smoke-free. Thank you for your cooperation.
Yep, there we are. Early 3. I will say it's pretty foggy this morning, though. It was foggy over at the resort. A lot of fog blowing in. I think everything looks A-okay-ish. Delta out there, which everybody seems to be loving Delta these days. Got nothing wrong with Delta. Even though I'm from Michigan, never really flown it too much. I don't know where exactly to the air traffic control tower is in this terminal, but the air traffic manager or supervisor went to school with. Loaned him $1,000. Never got it back. But he did say at the time he was eating ramen noodles. I'm sure nowadays he's eating probably better than that. There's a few things open. Looks like an old clubhouse. I don't think I'm hungry. I don't think I have Starbucks, so that's busy. Yeah, check that out. There. Welcome ACI members. That's Airport Council International. And finish up our airport stuff here. Next, you'll get to look at some planes, which will be cool. Versus just not standing and talking, but walking and talking. Much like we're doing right now. But it looks like Starbucks was a no-go. Nothing down there, but coffee. Not in the mood for coffee. I said, let's try this water. Too easy. Really not too much to explore here, so this will see each other at the next stop. Unless I find that tower manager, like you see it up the window here. That would be our chariot. I had not, obviously 737. Maybe Star Wars. I'll have to, can't just leave everybody on the hook. I'm sure some people that are better looking at it are like, dummy, that is an 800 or 900. I don't know what it was. Go out looking. Digs out the model of this. That is 800. 737 800. Well, the fog lifts, so we'll be on our way to Houston. Observer, well, that is a parking garage. But out there, planes landing. No, this is not Houston. This is Phoenix. Phoenix, Arizona. I had to skip over our IAH visit because I am flying on Friday the 13th, and it was a lot of fog back at RSW. And so I had to book it, made it to the flight though, nice and sweaty, a little stinky, but got the rental car, skipped the line here, which is good, sweet, Nissan Alanta, and we are on our way now out to Buckeye, Arizona. Looking forward to it. More later. Well, happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I got the perfect t-shirt to wear the Buckeye Air Fair today, plus my George Costanza size wallet. But it was an easy peasy, pretty straight day as got into beautiful Buckeye, Arizona. Andrew Wolonick told me I would love it. Where to go for the best parking lot food. But no, it's been perfect. Everybody's been great. Holiday Inn's been fine. They do give it with earplugs, which makes sense because there was a lot of Fast and Furious activity out in the parking lot last night. And actually, I was able to see, I tried to video some of it, just didn't turn out well. But I was able to see some of the acts going on at the Buckeye Airport. I think it's Buckeye, yes. Buckeye Air Show, Buckeye Air Fair. Airplanes flying and cool stuff happening. You know, as I was sitting here thinking about it, it's funny. So I'm off of 10, and one of the first airports that really my real airport job, grown-up job, I say, is probably Stockton, California. And it was actually just with my old boss in Florida. So look at how life goes. But I drove on US 10 here, and I remember I went through Phoenix when the 4th of July was happening. And so I was able to see the fireworks from the cars. I'd never been to California before, so it was fun. I got a speeding ticket for going 6 over in Texas. Still think, you know, it is what it is. So it's funny how life works. Drove 10 out to California, went to Stockton, started, well, continuation, I guess, of my aviation career. But that was after my bachelor's degree and rolling west. But it's funny though, because the airport is right over there. And if you look closely out by that mountain ridge line, it is probably a good case of protection of airspace. I don't know how close those, it looks like almost cooling towers maybe with the condensation rising over there, but protection of space around airports. We're just talking about that, I guess, with a lot of these AI mega what do they call them? Like the centers where they build electricity, that there's plumes coming out of them. But, you know, a nice VFR day, and then all of a sudden you got some plumes out there. And if you can't see it as well on this, I'll apologize. I'm not sure, but I'm letting you know for sure that they're there. Anyways, you probably don't need to hear me ramble on and on at the Holiday Inn Express in Buckeye, Arizona. I'm going to get over to the airport and check some things out and go from there with this shirt, the Valentine's Day shirt, because it is Valentine's Day. So for all of you that led from Friday the 13th into Valentine's Day, hopefully it's not an omen for you. But if you're like me and you're spending an air show, or you're just watching this and you want to come along, I say air show, air fair. Let's get it right for the Buckeye people. If you want to come along to the air fair and spend some of that day with me, let's go over. Well, parking's a lot busier than I thought it would be, but that's good. And so far, they're not too bad. $15 to park. Can't get back in. No sticker. $10 if you pre-hedge, but we don't pre-arrange. Got a motorcycle for Andrew, because that's what he likes. Better get in and see some stuff. In Buckeye Air Fair. Saying air show. But it is the air fair. Hopefully that's not copyrighted music. Don't know the song. It's probably famous. This is a fabricator hangar. So I did a conversation talk in Las Vegas at NBAA about these hangars in particular, because they're kind of like temporary, so you can pull them up and fit everything in. Because AOPA 7 there, but worked with the guy who put these on the map in Australia, I think, and then to the U.S. So he's in charge of the U.S. one. Bjorn, I think was his name. That's pretty cool though. I've never actually seen one in action, but it looks like it's doing the trick. But it's a beautiful balmy day here. 75 degrees. Happy Valentine's Day. I must go look at the Waco. Because the Waco is the dream. Almost feel like this one was for sale. Aircraft display. Maybe not for sale, but it's pretty slick. They got it looked at. Cameras and all sorts of fun stuff. Oh, that thing is pretty. A Waco aircraft for sale. Waco air. I don't think this one is for sale, but they're over there, so maybe they're selling. That's pretty.
That's bad.
Oh, like Sport Alpha trainer? That's pretty sweet. Container. That isn't bad. This stick's working out pretty good too. I didn't know how this stick would work, but it's working out pretty good. Oh, I'm sorry. I should watch where I'm going. Always looking up. That's that extra, I think. So many cool planes and cool people too. New Mexico. Now that's pretty sweet. The New Mexico Pilots Association. Wow. That one's on, I know. That will probably get me hit on YouTube. Not quite sure how that works. Up and running. And hearts for Valentine's Day. Skyrim. I'm gonna look this guy up. The Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is the New Mexico plane. What is this? I actually had to look it up because I had GS2 Sportsman 2007. It is based here though, so that's probably good. But that's pretty slick. I like the colors. State colors. New Mexico state color. Wow, registered in Mexico. So I guess not here technically, right? One state over. Our heart's starting to look like a butt cheek. All right, we're gonna continue on our walk here through the Buckeye, Arizona Air Fair. I'll have to look up a little. I don't know too much about the Buckeye Airport besides what I have, really, besides knowing where it is, like on the map. So I'll look up some stuff while I walk. Then I'll sound intelligent when I talk about the airport, you know, because that's the way that works. But I do have the right glasses on today. Plane watch crew. Got the right t-shirt on today for Valentine's Day. Airplanes. What else is there to complain about? Nothing. Nothing at all. You know, if I didn't have that trip to Florida for the Airport Council International, I may have brought a camping chair with me, but such is life. So I'm just going to have to. Just like that run that I made for the Houston airport, which you didn't get to see. Because I was on the run, I was on the move. I was huffing it from Terminal E to Terminal C. No time to video, just time to run. Got some Osprey action over here. We'll have to get some air in the air action over Buckeye. But they did a nice job. I think last year they said 30,000 people here. It seems pretty filled up, but moments away. Moments sounds good. Maybe we'll post up over here to see if we can get some video.
Oh yeah, I dumped it. That's not
Pretty sure there's going to be an A there in a minute.
and you saw loft and wide.
That's a
Great
pretty
instances
neat
using
glider.
different types of lift, such as rising air from the sun's heat or unstable air from frontal
You
passage.
could get some good
The
rides
team
today.
uses oxygen
Hey.
go 14.
You know, I think I've seen this P-51 in my travels, Miss Marvel. It's been a while, but Huskies, I love the back of that. Fun dog, funny plane.
Direct your attention
Oh,
to the
Miss
sky
Marvel.
as our demonstration gets
I
underway.
am paying attention.
This Cadet First Class Daniel Russell from Boise, Idaho.
Ooh, Boise. I was just talking with the airport director from Boise. Moved there for the job. Don't we all know? And a Russian aircraft, the MiG. Do you remember the episode of our podcast with Alex Gershton? His grandfather. That was in one of those.
During this demonstration,
That's just nice. It's not bad. I can see why Andrew likes this place.
Pulling up to 7 positive G's and pushing up to 5.
From a 0 knots ground speed hover and accelerates back into airplane mode.
Oxygen aviator, that checks out.
It's not this. Are you ready? Sit down.
Sorry.
Whoop,
sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. At a little less height than I thought it would be in here.
Pace be short.
I'll take a pretty.
Pretty sweet.
That's true.
Oh my God, I see. Medium 30 seconds there. Oh, this is quite a
Interesting thing about the Osprey is when you think of Marine One, with the helicopter or the president flies on, they won't fly on this because it's too dangerous for that. With the vertical and the horizontal surfaces flying on that. This must be the FBO for us airport nerds. You fill up 66. I bet you get a good fuel price here. I just have an 8.8. There's the beacon, again, for us airport nerds. Oh, and the porta potties. Perhaps I should stop in there. I doubt anybody wants to go with me, so I'll stop recording at this point. But, oh, it's some nice looking T-hangers. Look at that. Oh, that's pretty. Ooh, another biplane. DC-3. All right, we'll be back in a second. ASU steady in progress. Got a nice Buckeye Air Fair sign. DC-3. This thing's pretty slick.
So I could give you a great look at these two incredible aircraft.
Check it. Zero.
The Zero that you see going by today, that's a Kozak. She was pulled out of the Babo airfield in the jungles of the western part of the island of New Guinea in 1991 by Dan and Kleist of the Santa Monica Museum of Flight. It was restored mostly in Russia during the mid-90s and was returned to the United States where fighter rebuilders at the Chino Airport completed.
Flybys Express.
What a beautiful airplane and a great opportunity for us. Was trying to twist and turn to survive the zero attack on that American SNJ Texan. The Texan was the American training aircraft designed in the late 30s and named for the state in which it was built. It was also used by Allied forces. The SNJ trained almost every pilot who flew in World War II, well, earning the nickname the Pilot Maker. Air show left, take a look at the SNJ. Well, you're going to see what's called an overshoot. They missed the attack, and they came in firing some of those guns. Well, talk about some firepower. The Zeros, they were known for being lightweight and maneuverable, but they were armed with two 7.7 millimeter machine guns and two 20 millimeter cannons. Do a little bit of what we would call the wave and some of the victory passing between the two. Belly looking, one trying to get in the sights of the other. An extreme different horsepower range. The Zero had about 1,130 horsepower, but the SNJ, that bulletproof design, Pratt Whitney, around 600 power. There is our Zero as our pilot, Rob Hertberg. Again, former Air Force pilot, touching back down here in Buckeye. Both down, safely on the ground. When they come by, cockpit open, give them a big wave as a special thank you to our commemorative Air Force based out of Camarillo, California. Our friend in that SNJ. What a great flight was. We look up above. Mike is bringing the airplane to a safe altitude where communication and trust between the pilot and wing walker are everything. Ladies and gentlemen, is that correct? Is that actually a lady out there on the wing? Well, she has climbed out. If you saw her in pilot introductions, that is Sam out on the wing. Well, Sam is from a small farming community in Illinois. You know, she was never into air shows, but she always enjoyed aviation, and she knew she wanted to get her pilot's license. Well, this is a pretty incredible young lady to think that she did not have the experience, came down here and decided to take a wing walking act as a second job, and this is pretty incredible. I tell you what, we're going to try to do something kind of special here right now, and we're going to see if we can pull something in for you. I have never seen an act like this in Buckeye before, and if I could, I'm going to try to get a quick word with her, and we are going to talk before our next performance. It is truly a collaboration. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of Sam and the Wing Walker act? Oh my gosh, part of the team is up in Canada, and this is Super Saturday here. What do you think your first experience in Buckeye?
You know, Mike and I are so thrilled to be here and spending our Valentine's Day together here at
Now with me on the 30-degree upline. Watch, he's gonna roll up over to the left. He's gonna snap it around once and twice for the double avalanche fluke. The impressive thing about the GB1, it's the Gamebird built in Bentonville, Arkansas. The big wingover out to the right. Now he's nose down, airspeed up, and right back to work. This aircraft is in the unlimited category of aerobatic aircraft and holds a surface level waiver, meaning he can fly aerobatics all the way down to the ground. It's at 230 miles per hour. And the Kingbird GB1, known as the Fury.
It's just a level transition, just demonstrating some of the capabilities of the Osprey. Notice how quickly he's able to get those nacelles down and able to accelerate from under 75 knots and accelerate up to 240 knots. That's over 275 miles per hour. Here comes Lady Ace 11, once again crewed by Captain Tater Davis, Captain L.J. Green, Sergeant Monica Howard, and Lance Corporal Kip.
Daytime air show has wrapped up. This thing's pretty sweet, though. La Bob Express. And there's the nighttime, so I don't know. Maybe go see some AOPA friends. Look at some stuff. I haven't sat down in a while, but that's all right. I probably don't need to sit down. I figured out the zoom on this thing. I'm sure I'm just being an idiot with it. Lights are on. Gonna walk and talk. They do have a pretty sweet sign over there. A lot of people out and about. It's good though. It's a perfect day for it. These are nice tea hangers. Why? I would assume the weather here though, they probably stay in pretty good shape. Of course, PWK has the best tea hangers around, I would say. They're pretty slick. But these ones aren't bad. A Cubs fan? Good. Unless you're George Sakis and you're a White Sox fan. Inside joke, sort of. But if you ever want to send George Sakis to Chicago Executive Airport a White Sox jersey, you know what to do. Look at that. Clouds and the mountains. It's beauteous day. It's beauteous. As, well, shoot, I can't remember the show, but somebody said, heaven has a lack of chairs. That's a nice thing. You can come and go and sit down at least in the car. But got some pizza from, well, it just says pizza slice on here, so I don't remember the name. It wasn't, that's generic. It wasn't them. So I want to eat that. The Kyle Lewis's sweet AOPA ride is doing AOPA stuff here. Important stuff. I'm just lollygagging around. It's a sweet ride, though. It's got some cactuses on it. Yeah. Nice wheels. The DC-3 in the background. I'm just vlogging up. Do you remember Kyle from the podcast that everybody always says to me, you know, the longest podcast? The longest. I was like, I spent 3 hours on it.
Joe Rogan style. That's how
It was Joe Rogan style. It was. Did you fly it? Or did you?
Southwest.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I didn't know, like, you flew it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been an interesting day. We just had a missing kid.
Oh, did you find him?
Yeah.
Fine.
I didn't find it, but they were going out.
It's good. I'm recording too, so you don't want any of that out. You let me know. I'll be editing it anyways.
Just got done with the air show.
Air shows, that's good. Do you know how many people are in attendance?
You know, usually this event runs for both days. Well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 30,000 plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
30,000 plus. And I think we were almost tapped out on aircraft parking earlier. If they were into our overflow.
So, I was looking into it with you guys. This used to be your regionals where you would your fly-ins.
Well, so we used to do regional fly-ins. We never had a regional fly-in here.
Okay.
But we partnered with the city back in 2022, I guess, because they were already hosting the air fair.
Okay.
Which they had a small air show. They still had a flying component, but it wasn't very, I guess it was a little loosey-goosey on how it was run. And that's when AOPA got involved, and we brought our fly-in to their air fair that had been in existence for a few years already.
So, is he just an aviation enthusiast that flew in? Or was he part of the act?
No, he was just somebody that showed up this morning.
And that's AOPA's.
Yeah, so that's our little VIP. Remember, so that's the city has one as well.
It's a beautiful plane.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. That's the. No, MiG. I do like the paint job on this one. Yeah.
Hey, I had the quick radios. I got you out and cleared that off. Supervisor delivered 72 joints. I'm going to 7 for takeoff.
All right, here's your.
Yep, takeoff on 7, open countdown. 6:50. Hold it down, chat. Please stand.
Well, but thank you. What's your quit?
This is insane. That
What's the departures?
That's what I'm about.
I just want to go ahead. We kind of walk in front of you. Cliff takeoff.
30 years ago, I got 30 miles I think that was
So that Kingfisher, it's
8.5. No break.
Wicked Willie.
Let's put here.
Wow.
I think I figured out.
Are you stepping in it?
Oh, let's tight.
You want a picture?
Yeah, he does.
What's the top end on this? Do we know?
So what?
The top end?
At 300 miles an hour.
300 miles an hour?
Which is cooking.
Yeah. Wow. Willie supposedly caught on fire, which we just had an aircraft catch on fire. I didn't catch it though. Small fire. By the time we got there, it was out. A Cessna 195. They rushed in, saved the day. In the right spot. Airport staff only. And the thing.
Nope. You have an airbag?
They're gonna fire it up, right?
Yeah.
Captain Trinity Balls Taylor. This is the best part of this so far. The jet car's out of gas, so we won't be seeing it. Besides part of that, so the thought. This Osprey's sweet though.
Vacate my cart.
I could vacate it, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So they're gonna fire it up, and it has an original starter in it, so it has an interesting sound. A North American T6. Yes, I like that. I know that too. How long now? Road at T6 Harbor. Very low sound. This end is slicked up. That's been pretty good. Now the night show is coming around soon. Thank you to Kyle and all the AOPA folks have been so friendly. This is the Zero we saw earlier. That's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. That's a wing walker walking up top there. It's 39. Well, what this thing is. Reminds me of that aircraft that was in Howard the Duck. I remember that. There's a Vision jet over there. We've seen that before. This guy here. I'm sure you'll probably all know as you're watching this, so you could tell me what I am missing here already as I stall. Maybe I'll edit out some of how long you have to wait for me to have this answer. And I'll just say it now. Like, oh, well, that's a Nordring Lorraine. Can I get that? I think so. Let's make sure the pictures are it. Yep, that's it. Like Lorraine from Back to the Future, if I remember right. I don't know. It's a long day, long hot day in the sun, but a fun day. And Eagles. We know now those are not pits. I misspoke earlier when I said such things, such foolish things. But sun's getting ready to go down. We got the night show. Yeah, I had to put the second battery in this thing. I would be curious to see how the video turns out. But it's been an exciting day here in Buckeye, Arizona. Again, everybody's been so cordial, friendly through the process. So at Zero, it's cool. I'll walk past here. And that guy we saw at the Gary Air Show, a little jet. He sits on the, I thought it was the smoke canister, but Kyle said it's the fuel tank. Either way, he's sitting on something. Standing around.
What's up?
Smells like gas.
Yep. Wow.
It's a Predator.
We're probably out. I think.
That's cool. Are they synchronized drone flying tonight? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So what it is, it's a swarm of drones, and it's they're down uploading all of the program. It's all computer controlled, all 3D, and then they do a whole check of directions and lights and all kinds of cool stuff.
What are you guys doing?
Oh man.
Trying to inspect us.
Wow.
And this is 250 here.
250 tonight, yeah. So last night was just a small little 100 corner. Today we got the big one. This is our average drone size for the most part for most of our shows. So we were seeing it increase of
clients wanting bigger shows. Last year we averaged like 180 drones per show, which was up by like 20 drones from the year before. We did a couple 500 drone shows end of last year, earlier this year, and we have a 1,300 drone show next week. Definitely a little bit more than fireworks, but it takes a lot more to put this together. It's quicker to set up. Like fireworks guys are like, "Oh, you're already done." We're like, "Yeah, it's easy," but to get to this point, it's a lot of people and engineering work and a bunch of other stuff.
All the boxes, the shipping, the
Yeah, exactly.
At least you're not worried about them blowing up, though. That's
Right.
Does the community tell you, like, does it say like Buckeye or is that what it's?
Oh, it's awesome.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
It's incredible.
Wow.
wait till you see what.
So like when they contract with you guys, they're like, we would like it to say this or that, or that's cool.
Whatever they want.
Wow.
Any wording.
Wow.
We create the customization in the sky as opposed to fireworks where it's more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can bring that additional custom to shows and events.
Wow.
They do it in Illustrator, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
vector
W-
based.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We start with all designs in Illustrator, then we move to our native software, which is called Verge, and that's where the engineering work goes together, where they turn that illustration into the drone.
Wow.
So an EPS is basically. Yeah.
So if you wanted to set one like Buckeye with your illustrators and everything, how much is the lead time on that? Is that like months?
We can create a show from start to finish. It'll be like, I think tonight is 16 animation, maybe 18. We can do it in about 3 days.
Yeah.
To give you the first render of like, here's the first rough draft.
Yeah.
What do you like? What don't you like? Colors, look, depth,
Wow.
3D, and then we start to massage it from there.
Wow.
So it's like a 3D simulation.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Wow. Number off the top of my head, but it's about 14 minutes of runtime.
Okay.
Let's do time sync, multicolor. Time sync, same color, same time. So this is telling the radio, yep, we are in sync with each other, and we know exactly what to do, when to do it, and no one is like off. So looks good.
Wow.
Good down there, Bobby. Yeah, good. So status. So this one is going to tell us, will this drone launch tonight, or does it need to be? We have one red, not in the. How's it look down there, Bobby? Bodie, this red one right here.
There's two.
There's two. They're not going to fly tonight. There's something wrong. I have to figure out what that is.
Over here.
Yeah, and then let's also tag them with the yellow tape and just say red status mode on top. I don't think those later.
Yeah,
They need to be super close to it.
It's not
Yeah.
beyond visual line of sight.
Yeah, we've flown the furthest flight we've
Ooh,
flown.
the true north.
Here in Arizona, we flew 1,200 feet to get to the audience area.
The old parachute ride. Looking at it. United States Air Force aircraft parachuting team. That's pretty cool. They're big. The White Knights.
That's not uncommon.
Wow. What is this, the Tesla?
Could be anywhere.
Hey, I gotta tell you, it's just like the Wonderland and Jet.
That was the thing that got Kyle last
All right. Well, we had a good air show yesterday. Down here now in downtown Buckeye. I think. I don't know. I mean, first time I've done one of these, so I'll put it together, see how it goes. Well, you know, it has its charm. Kind of reminds me of Laredo, Texas, where I lived for a little while. Like a lot of towns. I wanted to come to the downtown district to see. Yeah, sorry, a little jaywalking there. To see, I don't think anybody's gonna mind. To see what the old historic downtown district looked like. I'll splice this all together, but a lot of closed down business stores. Nicest building, City Hall. A lot of times you do see the newest building being our taxpayer dollars. Oh, look at this. Don't say bread. Sliced, sold by the Payless Market. That's pretty cool. I don't think we can go in and get any bread today, but that's nice. It's like I said, you know, I can understand living in a district area like this. May not be exactly for me, but you know, what the hell? Like that guy? Probably more for him, but no, it's not bad. A nice little park district here. It's not lost on me why some people would want to live in a temperature area like this. It's pretty nice. Yeah, I do like the more partial to the Midwest, probably. But that's where I grew up. I think everybody's a little more partial to where they grew up. I like the foliage. If someone always tells me, that's not how you say it. I like the drive-through beer. That's a nice setup. We don't have that in Illinois. Liquor laws are always very interesting to me. But in Illinois, you can buy your marijuana there. And if you want fireworks, you go to Wisconsin. So there you go. That's how you have a nice 4th of July. Train goer? I don't know. I want to check this guy out. You know, they had said in, I think it was a local car wash. Love a local car wash. Always good to have a car wash. Guy on a bike. But when I was in, where was I? In Voyager National Park. I watched the Today Show. So they have some of these porcelain guys. This one's very unique, though. This may be a local one. I don't even know if that's porcelain, to be quite honest with you. I don't know exactly what that is. But they often talked about how these were made for, like, folding mufflers and stuff. This guy looks like a prospector. Buckeye Main Street Coalition. 67. Okay, that aligns with the years that they started making these up north to hold mufflers and all sorts of stuff. But this guy looks like his shoes blown out. He's got a rope belt, some stuff jammed into his pockets. Hobo Joe. Yep, that all makes sense. While Ransell inspiration came from the first large-scale Hobo Joe. Disney art? Oh. He's become a beloved member of our downtown community. I'll read it all to you. You can pause and read it if you want to. Let's see what the backside of Hobo looks like here. Someone's food. It's got a banana and a candy cane, maybe? I don't know what the hell that is. This shoe looks like it's in pretty good shape. Oh, he's got the Wall Street Journal on him. That's not bad. That's pretty funny. That's pretty cool. If you see up there, the Buckeye, established 1888, I believe. The slash is pushing it over on the 5 there. Could be 1868. This is a visitor center. You know, these GoPros are hard to zoom in on. There's not a button to zoom. So, I don't know. But we'll figure it out. Pretty sure it's 1888 now that the slash is moving. I think we're out of luck on the Tourist Information and Visitor Center today, at least according to the door. Looks locked. Yep, we're on that one. Buckeye Hispanic Chamber. Marketing 101. Getting a cool shirt. Buckeye's biggest breast. Okay. Fair enough. This is a nice little sitting area over here, though. Look at this. Got a nice little piece of wood. I made Hobo Joe over there, keeping a watchful eye on thing. It's a nice little bench. Oh, sit down. Well, the air show went pretty well. Like I said, I'm sure this is going to come after it. At least for me, it makes sense. That's for Andrew. Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. Kyle was really great to work with. Showed me a lot of stuff. I didn't film it, but a Cessna 195, I believe, caught on fire. Only because I wanted to be sensitive. It was a small fire. It was out by the time we got over there. But they sprung into action at AOPA and made everything work pretty well. So awesome night show. You guys probably have seen it since on the video, but it was really cool. So I'm going to wander around downtown here, maybe find a spot to go on a hike, fly out tomorrow back to O'Hare. So, and the Waco guys, that was great. I got a brochure on the biplane. So the Waco guys were there. They were a big sponsor of the Buckeye Air Fair. And I'll apologize because I'm pretty sure I've been intertwining air fair and air show. In theory, they're the same thing. But to be fair, it is the Buckeye Air Fair. But they did an amazing show. Parking was a little so-so. But I guess when you have 30,000 people coming out, you know, it's going to be tough to get out. It wasn't bad. It took me about an hour to get out, maybe an hour and 20 to get out and get back to the hotel. So if that was the biggest thing, that was a pinch, it worked out pretty well. Give yourself a little extra time, look at some extra planes, then roll out. But that worked out pretty good. And maybe grab some, now I guess it's more, not dinner. That's lunch and dinner, right? What's the other? Brunch? Brunch. How could I forget brunch? Maybe grab some brunch somewhere around here. There's a nice looking grocery store down there I might have to check out. Maybe I'll film it quickly before I go in. It's weird. I do talk a lot, but talking into one of these, it's, you know, not maybe necessarily my strong suit, at least not like yet. I don't know. I feel like it's getting better since we started on this trip together from Illinois to now Arizona via Florida. But yeah, so, but people look at you, we're like, why is that guy talking to himself? I don't know why. Maybe I'm talking to somebody on the AirPods. That's a possibility. It is Sunday. Maybe I call dear old mother. But all right, well, we're going to wander not away, see what's going on. But here at the nice visitor center, closed, well, I guess every days besides Monday through Thursday. Every days. Yes, every days. Oh, before my brain skips too far. The Waco guys. Yes, I'll finish on that. They were a big sponsor of this, so I got a chance to talk to them. They actually sell used Wacos, which is, you know, is the biplane I want to buy. So they're right by me in Chicago over in Kalamazoo, so I may go over and check them out. Ryan there gave me his card, gave me some sweet stickers. So I'm going to look forward to that and bring you guys along at some point. Maybe I'll try to fly over from PWK to there. See if I can find the plane. When you're renting, it's hard. Because, you know, just to be fair, I don't want to take the plane all day long when they could be renting it to other people. So I try to limit long stints like that where I'm somewhere, but we'll see. Maybe. All right. Going to wander for some food. Well, while we're wandering, I found the local Elks Club down there. Elks everywhere. I don't think this cafe's open. That would be cool. 2535 Casa de la Villa? Mexican restaurant. A lot of good places. This is too early probably for me to partake. Not the brunch place, baby. I mean, I wonder if it's open. I do see lights on in there. Maybe we'll go over and check it out and get some Wolf Western wear while we're in there. All right, we're gonna do some more jaywalking. Made it just in time. Cafe 2535. Well, the Heritage wasn't bad. Even the owner came over and said, thanks for coming in, which is always nice. Plus Chase Bank. Look at that. Barbershop. Andrew's brother could work down here. I keep saying Andrew, but his family all lives here. Oh, I could have stayed at this hotel. Was I thinking? Son of a bitch. All right. We're going to go find another airport, I think. I did have to point this out briefly. Another barbershop for someone with bald heads like me. This town has a lot that doesn't offer to me. But my mother really liked Felix the cat there. Now, I'm sure they're paying royalties. Of course, he's probably one of those items that you can, like Winnie the Pooh now, where you can just use him for free. But it's the original Winnie the Pooh, not Winnie the Pooh New Adventures, right? Yeah. Anyways, so I had to point that out. I did have to point this out because when I lived in California, I lived in a trailer park for a while before I moved onto the boat. And it reminded me a lot of this. I was saying Laredo, but that was mine. Now, technically mine was a travel trailer, which you can see in here. And I remember my landlord, who actually was probably the nicest landlord I ever had. His name was Don. He was like, well, we could give you a normal unit or we could give you one that's a travel trailer. The travel trailer has a plastic toilet, though. If you've ever been on a plastic toilet, you know what I mean. It was good advice that he gave me. But to point it out, you know, as we drive through Buckeye, it says the pavement ends. It says the pavement ends. And there's our windsock, though, up there. So I think we're gonna, oh, I might hear an airplane. Well, it's Western Pilot Services. It's a private use airport. And if you look around, there's not a lot down here, but I will say great for noise concerns. It's a private airport, 100 low lead available, owned by Oops Properties, which is funny. I heard a story once of an aircraft registered, if you're a Seinfeld fan, to an LLC called These Pretzels Are Making Me Thirsty. But that's cool, though. A nice little private strip, about 3,400 feet in length. I don't know, probably running their own little business out of here, but seems pretty quiet today. You know, a little better view down here without their nice sound wall. It's probably T-hangers over there, I would think. Again, pretty quiet out there. Looks like an industrial working airport. And speaking of working aircraft, those are what do you call it? Air tractors? 502s, probably something. But they're agricultural, spraying pesticides. Which makes sense at Farmview Airport. That's probably a good part of their business, I would think. They got a punch code and everything for the gates, so put some money into it. Fence line, looks pretty nice around here. A lot of times you come out to these, especially privately small airports, and there's no fences at all. Well, we're at Sonora Desert National Monument. I can't gain too much more weight because that's a tight squeeze. The Sonora Desert Bureau of Land Management. Let's see what we have in store for today. Do a little hike. Get up top. Report sources. This would be good in case I get lost up here. I can refer to this video myself. So that's good. I don't know if you remember these cactuses. If you remember Snoopy's cousin Spike, he lived up in the hills like this. Yeah. I think he was interested in that actress, if I remember right. I don't really remember the movie. She's a blonde actress. She drove a Jeep. Anyways, I think he lived in one of these style type cactuses. But this is pretty nice. There's nobody out here. It was about a 45-minute drive in from Buckeye, Arizona. So that was good there. And if I don't make it out of here, then the search and rescue people can have something to review. But if you're watching this on my channel and not on the news, then I made it out of here alive and well. Now, I did put on SPF 100 because I'm going to burn to a crisp otherwise. But it's not bad. Probably about 78 degrees out here. It's nice and warm, though. Not nice and warm, but it's warmer back in Chicago, which is probably 60 degrees, let's say. Protect your wildlife, protect and access, ride legally. All right. Well, you probably don't want to walk with me the whole way, so I'll walk out. There was an airport I saw over there that maybe we'll stop by on our way back through. That could be at least another quick visit. I'm not sure if I saw an F4 Phantom out in front of it, but I also saw a VOR. So there's some nuggets to look at on our way back if we make it out of here. Does say a lot about flooding though, and you can see where the rain's been running through. I gotta look out probably for snakes. You know, in almost 5 years now of living in Illinois, I have not seen one snake anywhere. Not one. All right, over and out. I heard something very loud, and I was like, that's gotta be a big semi, but it's a train. Rolling on through. Must not be hitting any low bridges, because she's got double stacks on her. I often see people with these too when I'm riding the train into Chicago, like on the metro, and train stops. Train spotting seems to be just as popular as plane spotting, but they get really involved in that. Well, that is good. All right, just thought I wanted to point out the train, and as it's rolling through the desert with us on our walk. I guess this is what happens when a cactus does. Flat. Another jet shot. I guess that's not as special as I thought earlier. This is a good up close view of one of, oh, and a plane in the background. I didn't even set that up. Look at the serendipitous of our cacti friend here. And that's pretty sharp. It's funny, so when I drove out west, I mentioned it earlier in the video, when I drove out here to get the job in Stockton, California, which, like I mentioned, I just left Florida, and my old boss was in Florida at the conference I was at. So we remain in contact since I've left Stockton. I didn't really start seeing these style cactuses until I hit Arizona. And that one's up there, way up at the top. It's kind of the quintessential shot that you see, right? Kind of the two prongs on the side. As a matter of fact, if you look back at the light show, they created a cacti like that in the shot for the show last night with the drones, which was pretty cool. And the cool conversation there, which is in this video, I'm sure you've already seen it because it's before this. My dad was in the Army. And they would do training in where is it? El Paso, which just had that weird TFR over it for drones, DOD versus FAA. Well, it's FAA. So when I was in Florida, they were closing the airport for 10 days, the airspace around it, effectively closing the airport. And then it was like drones from the cartels and Mexico. Anyways, it's back up and running. I think it was just a few hours. But my dad would go down there, and they went to Juarez. And one of the privates that he was with in the Army got drunk and tried to hug one of these things and then fell asleep on it. And I guess they had to take him to the hospital. And when he woke up, he wasn't feeling too good. So I wouldn't hug one. I had a brown thumb when I was a kid, and my dad bought me a cactus because he said it was the only thing that I wouldn't kill. And I didn't. It stayed alive. Well, it started to die a little bit. But I would put it up by my alarm clock. You know, back when you would have the alarm clock that you would slap with a button. Like an idiot, I put it right next to it, and I slap it and get it in my hand. It took me a while before I figured out I should move the cactus. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Whole lot of nothing. I do hear someone shooting off in the far distance. Probably a good spot to shoot. Not a whole lot out here. Some horse tracks along the way. Vehicle tracks, of course, but really nothing. Pretty quiet for the most part. All right, made it to a fence. There's so many cattle out here. I don't know. This is cool though. Southern Overland Route, Native American Trails, Spanish Trails, Gila Trail, Pioneer Trail, something under barbed wire, Mormon, Avalon Trail, 49ers Trail. Hey, where's the Bears Trail? Butterfield Stage Route. It's cool, though. You can also hear that guy doing right there. That airport, we're going to stop back on the way back by. I saw him actually landing when I went by. Perfect spot. A lot of flight schools have operations, obviously, where I went to school, and my alma mater in Riddle has an actual campus here. And then even like North Dakota has a flight operation, big flight operation in Mesa, Arizona. Great spot to do flight training, especially in the winter up our way. I guess they put bathrooms out here, which is cool. So I guess you can, because I think with BLM land, you can pretty much camp on it, I think, where you want. Now, this was fenced off with barbed wire. If I want to venture over there, the door's open. But I think the rule is you can camp for like 15 days on BLM land, then you have to move. But somebody's been here because there's a fire pit. So somebody's been out and about in these parts at some point. Well, looks like a good spot for some wild animal to hang out for a while. So I'm not venturing that way. But yeah, this is cool. Haven't seen a soul, not yet. I'm gonna continue on here. I thought maybe there'd be a picnic table or something in here. Now that I would use a picnic table. There are flies out here, but not too bad. They're not biting. They're just buzzing. They must like what they smell. But yeah, this is cool. All right, more later. This thing is interesting. It must be an old water well, perhaps. Maybe to keep water for the cattle? I don't know. Maybe somebody can comment and tell me. I would assume that's what it is. Doesn't look like it's been used. Well, I mean, could have been used. It's old. It's definitely old. Maybe it's been used, and this time of year they just don't need it now, right? I mean, this fence is all destroyed. And maybe at one point they kept cattle in here, and that was their watering hole. I don't know. You hear these stories all the time about BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, and cattle, and people using it, and the right to use it. And there was that standoff, I think, in Trump's first term. Can't even really remember where that was at. But it was about using this land for grazing, I guess, grazing. But using it for cattle anyways. And then take them wherever they need to go. I don't know. As you can tell, I'm not a farmer. Or a rancher. Probably rancher. See that? Don't even know the term. Not a rancher. But this fence leaves little to be desired at this point. The fence is no longer being a fence. I'm on the fence about this fence. And I have a fly literally on this camera right now. Still can't figure out the zoom. I don't know why GoPro didn't put like a zoom on the side of it. I'm going to have to go home and do some research on this because I keep playing with the buttons that I've seen online. They can't get, there's so many features. Like how to use it for panoramic, etc. But I can't get it to zoom in on something with that sound attached would be preferable. Zoop. Well, this sign is old, but not as old as the information on it. You can see here that Spanish Crown Royal from down in Mexico, I guess, state of Sonora at the time, traveled their way all the way up to San Francisco, or my home area. That's where my trailer was that I pointed out earlier back in Buckeye. I also lived on a boat in San Francisco Bay and the Valley, but Millennium Trail probably tells you when this sign was put in. But wind's kicking up. The wind is kicking up. But that's interesting. Again, a lot of solitude out here, which is a juxtaposition from what we were doing yesterday with over 30,000 people. The city of Buckeye has been very successful in getting a lot of people to come out to their air show. And so I enjoy it immensely, actually. I'm looking forward to doing more. I say air show, air fair. To be fair, air fair. That's a way to remember it. But I did enjoy it immensely. I also, though, do enjoy my solitude. I think you need a good mix of it, right, to get in the right headspace. And this is definitely solitude out here. Ain't nothing, as far as I can see. Maybe there's somebody looking at me and I don't know it. But it's a whole lot of nothing. So when people from Spain walk through here, I suppose it probably looked very similar to as it does today. The desert. It is got, though, even though, you know, it's funny because I think about, I saw the Eagles. I'm a fan of the Eagles. I like the Eagles. I saw the Eagles at the Sphere, which was a really cool show. Quite enjoyable. They even had Glenn Fry's son playing in the band. I think Glenn Fry Whoop, another fly. Glenn Fry. Come on, Fly. I don't remember what. I don't think he was base. I don't think he was the base. But anyways, the Eagles, the show was good. Don Henley started right at 8 p.m. when the show kicked off, because I had saw you two there the year previously to that. And it took Bono and the crew about an hour to come out. I guess Don Henley wanted to get right back to it. And by that, I mean at a show. But it was a good show. And I think artists probably have to deal with the fact that the Sphere also is what people are going, because you pay more money for middle seats versus down by the stage, which is probably the only time in history that ever happens. But where I was getting it with this rambling desert walk is the Eagles seem to always have somewhat of a desert motif in their albums. I'm sure either from here, I should look into it at some point, but they frequently pop up on like my TV when I'm listening to like Sirius Satellite Radio, and I will see the kind of desert motif in the background and I think to myself, well, somebody has a connection to the desert in that band. I don't know who, but someone does. And so there's that. And then another story. So when I was in South Bend, and if you go back to the podcast episode where we talk about Air Force One, I mentioned this in there as well. But Nancy Reagan, even though Ronald Reagan never flew on the 747 as president, they were designing it much like Trump's and Biden's administrations have been, and Obama, I think even too, designing the new 747. Nancy Reagan had a lot of the style on it. So when you go into where the president, it has his quarters, like the bed and stuff, there is like the front nose of the plane. There's like a canvas, but it's like fabric. And it's like pinks and sands. Kind of looks like this, but it was Nancy Reagan's choice for like the background of it, the motif. Because she liked the Southwest, so she was able to put some of her mark on the plane. And there was other things. Barbara Bush had some on the carpet. So it seemed like first ladies had an opportunity to put some of their own style within the aircraft. But Nancy Reagan chose this as representative of America within Air Force One. But I said, it's beautiful out here. I've been seeing a lot of lizards running across the road, some birds. But other than that, not too much wildlife. These flies, I guess, are wildlife. But I can't blame them. They're just being flies, right? Flies like stinky things. I guess that's me out here. But what else are you going to be attracted to probably if you're a fly out here? Not that rock. Well, the walk continues. This is interesting. I personally have never seen the inside of a cactus before. Like in person. I've seen it. I'm taking it apart on TV, obviously. It's tough. It's like wood. That must be, I'm assuming, the water stored inside that. Well, hopefully that just happened and nobody came through here and destroyed it. But, besides that bottom part, it looks like it is at least... I guess there's some chunks in her. Seems solid, though. Probably hard to kill cactus, I would think. It's interesting because there is footprints and tire tracks out here, but I haven't seen anyone. This is pretty cool for you steel worker aficionados, steel producers. Putting steel together. U.S. Mormon Battalion Trail, 1846 and 1848. Mesa, Arizona, North. It's pretty neat. Not bad. Well, we'll check it out. Do one of those. One of those? One of those. Do one of those. Oh, wow. Again, it is pretty. I don't know, a pile of rocks like that gets put there. Maybe they did it. The Mormons, Joseph Smith out here, put a pile of rocks together. I don't know. This is neat, though. It's like, well, that actually comes out a little bit. Must have been in there before. That's definitely been here a while, though. Plane off in the distance and get away from the planes. Probably still doing touch and goes. Found myself a nice sitting rock, so that's good. Not big, it's not extremely comfortable, but, fits my big posterior to some extent. Before I start to trek back towards the car, had some water, enjoying the views though. You definitely don't get this in Illinois. again, we're all partial to our areas, but it's not lost on me why people like the desert. There is I remember like being in Colorado or Alaska, where like in a place like Illinois, you don't really get to see as far, right, in the distance as you do here. But you see for miles and miles and miles. So I can see how that's good for the soul. Interesting perspective. When I was flying from Houston after I made the long run from 17 to C9, when I made that run through the terminal before I landed on the flight from RSW or Fort Myers to IAH or Houston, George H. Bush International Airport, the girl next to me was talking to the guy in the seat or the middle seat and basically saying, oh, look at the perspective out the window. But I have heard that before, when I think people, back in the day, obviously, before there was aircraft and stuff, that the average person sees more out the window than the average person did back, 1800s, that type time period. Sometimes take it for granted, right? It's like the Wi-Fi's not working, but there is majesty and beautifulness to flight. So all in all, I would say this has been a pretty good trip for the kind of my first airfare for sure. Been to multiple air shows, but first airfare, first nighttime, really. I mean, I'd have to think about it if I've seen some stuff over the years. Things start to run. So at least as I'm sitting on this rock staring into the distance, I believe the first night air show I've been to. But let's go check that cactus out over there. It's like all twisted up and bent around. I wonder how long it takes a cactus like that to grow. I bet you it's a long time. I know the cactus that I mentioned earlier, as I dropped my hand into, stayed itty bitty forever. Hitting it with my hand probably didn't help, and then having rashes all over my fingers, that probably didn't help either. Yeah, all in all, a pretty good trip. And it was nice, like I said, to get out, get some solitude. Even though there's warm temperatures, I get back tomorrow. I have a marathon dentist appointment on Monday. I'm getting a crown put in and then my normal cleaning. But doing all that tomorrow night. But it's supposed to be like 60 degrees when I get home. So at least it's not dropping into like -5. To go from, 80 degrees basically to 60. That's a good swing. I'm probably even going to wear shorts tomorrow to the airport. Who knows? Maybe I'll feel some. It's harder to talk, like, come on, fly. Just me and the flies out here. It's harder to talk like this sometimes in camera because, you're just self-conscious. You feel like an idiot walking through talking to a camera, but at least I do. There's some professionals that do it a lot better than I do. But out here, really nobody to be like, what's that guy doing and who's he talking to? Of course, today, in this day and age, a lot of people are just talking to themselves. But my backpack, I do have to do a shout out. I got this from a friend probably 5 years ago, but it is a Swiss gear bag. It's a great bag. It's held up well. Again, popping into my mind as I'm sitting here, but I could not speak more highly of this bag. It's been with me for a long time now, and it holds up very well. Jamming it into overhead bins, underneath seats, the desert, who knows? All points everywhere, but it's been a good bag. All right, so and I'm going to make the truck probably back here, have some water, and then I think I'm about an hour out here at this point. And like I said, I'd like to stop at the airport on the way back, check that out briefly, and then head back to Buckeye. Got a 7 a.m. flight in the morning, United. I do need to edit, though. I had this in that bag. My stickers are rolling out, but what a nice, quick reading material as I sit here in the desert and think about hopefully future aircraft purchases. Glad I snagged this thing. We'll see. I'm no geologist, but that's a cool rock. If you went back to the episode with George Sakis on our podcast, Destination Aviation podcast, find it wherever you listen to your podcasts. He wanted to be a geologist. He could probably tell us what that is. He probably could. It looks white. The rest of them kind of blend into the ground. So I could see, little chunks of it around here. Almost. Now, this is Jeff Miller being a geologist, almost like a countertop. That's kind of cool, though. And is that a baby cactus? I don't know. This guy's probably starting to wonder why I'm out here. How many touch and goes is he going to do and I'm going to stand here? He's probably wondering the same thing. All right. Well, this is Amateur Geology with Jeff Miller. I wonder if he's looking at me, looking at him. I think that's about it for this spot here. But I've been enjoying it. Besides the flies. Come on, flies. Go away. That's crazy. Who the hell was walking out here barefoot? Right? I mean, that had to be some hot walking. It's crazy. Well, more power to him, I guess. Well, I see the road. So that means civilization is nearby. Pretty sure we made it back. I do see another vehicle up there, though, which means maybe they're the barefoot bandits out there. Or maybe they're just hanging out, because I haven't seen a soul. Actually, I might see two vehicles. Started a trend, right? Could be no vehicles, one vehicle starts many vehicles. It's a pack mentality. That's the way life works. But it was good. It was nice. As the eagle said, a peaceful, easy feeling. When I told a friend of mine that I went and saw the Eagles, she said, the Eagles? They're the ones with all the depressing songs. Which, okay, there might be a theme. But she heard Take It Easy, which I think at least deserves a footnote in her claim of sadness to song. All right, we made it, folks. Thanks for coming along on this walk. You see, even in the desert, there's an oasis. And I needed some water. I was thirsty. I'll get in before this guy comes in, but that was a much needed stop. I was very, very thirsty. I did bring water with me, but didn't last long in that desert. All right, we're gonna go back and see that. I believe VOR. All right, folks, here we are. East Airport Lane, right off the highway. I was gonna show you where the VOR is here, but there was a Arizona state trooper sitting by it, and rather than have all of us get in trouble, I figured I would just avoid. But this is Gila Bend Municipal Airport at Arizona. Now, there are some really good there's that airplane. I wonder if he notices it's me now. Probably says, hey, wasn't that the guy sitting in the desert? Anyways, there's some really good plane spotters out there. I am not one of those. I don't know why. Doesn't always completely click in my head. If you ask me the difference between a Boeing and an Airbus, I got you. If you ask me which particular 737 model is, I could probably guess. Like an 800, probably. Get it right. 200 for sure. But, you know, 7, 8, I could say 800 could be 700. The same goes with aircraft. You know, it's kind of like, or should I say smaller aircraft. If it's like a piston, so Cessna to a Cirrus, of course. You know, when you start 182, yeah, if I get in close, can tell the difference between that and 172, but again, it's not really my repertoire. There's much better people. So I had to look this up. And what I did is I took a picture and I ran it through ChatGPT and I asked it to tell me what's the aircraft. Now, you guys that watch this, you probably know. I didn't. It's a Lockheed F-104 Starfighter. It says extremely thin, short, straight wings, long pencil-like fuselage, T-tail configuration, side-mounted air intakes, very pointed nose. It was developed in the 1950s as a high-speed interceptor and was nicknamed the missile with a man in it because of its sleek rocket-like appearance. It served with the U.S. Air Force and many NATO countries. It's asked me where I found it. I'll put that in for ChatGPT so it knows it. But it's always interested me. If you go back and you look at one of our earlier podcasts, it was when we went up to Sawyer in the Upper Peninsula, and they had a B-52 there. They had a bunch of really cool stuff. If you go back and watch, or listen to, I should say, listen to that episode, you'll see it. This is our first watching. But it's always amazing to me what was super secret technology had to, you know, me standing here next to this thing in the 1950s was no bueno. But now it's just sitting here in a field. Tires are starting to go low on it. It's amazing. It's a slick piece of machinery. I do like the aircraft port over there, not a carport. We talked about those in Laredo. See if people kind of cheaper price in between a T-hanger and a tie-down completely. You're still out of the sun. Probably definitely need it at a place like this. We talked about it up north to keep the snow off the planes. I don't know. It's an interesting thought. But this is kind of cool. Probably wander in and take a look here. And like I said, I'll look up some information on the VOR over there. Because you don't see them too often. I wish I would have gotten a shot at it. But like I said, I don't want to be messing with Johnny Law. Not with those Nevada plates. They'd probably say, what's this fool doing with the camera? The air show's that way. Please stay off aircraft. That's a fair statement. This is pretty neat. I won't wander my way in there since it says airport tenants only. And I am not a tenant. But pretty quiet. I like their grand... Oh, you know what? You can see it right there. Look at that. Cool little terminal. But it's neat in there. Probably little trinkets. If I were to have flown in, I would. But, yeah, you know. Respect. That's a nice looking 100 Lola intake they have there, though. Let's see. So, I misspoke. That's actually a Vortec. Well, we'll get into that here in a second. So I looked it up. I think Pittsburgh had a Vortec, if I remember right. But with this is Echo 63 is the identifier here. And Gila Bend has one runway 422, 5,200 feet. That's a good amount of distance. Asphalt, 3,500 GA aircraft and 50 military operation, 5 based aircraft, 232 acres. The Vortec. This is, yeah, it's interesting. So Vortec to VOR. So VOR omnidirectional range, that VHF, do that. VOR is a ground-based radio navigation aid. So with the advent of, I talk a lot about ForeFlight and GPS fixes, RNAV approaches. They are not as important, but it is before how airliners would fly. So with GPS, there can be thousands and thousands, infinite number of fixes. With this, it was a fixed physical infrastructure on the ground, and the airlines would fly point to point across the U.S. But I believe the Vortec included military operations, and I think that's why we have one in Pittsburgh. But the azimuth, directional information, works on VHF frequencies, give pilots a radial magnetic bearing from the station, used for airway navigation, position fixes, does not provide distance. Key advantage, civilian aircraft, VOR azimuth DME distance, military aircraft get full TACCON capability. The Vortec gives you both direction and distance. VOR paired with DME, so distance measuring equipment. So that's pretty cool though. I haven't seen a Vortec in a long time. Like I said, I think Pittsburgh would have been the last time I actually saw a Vortec. And like I said, I don't think they're really in use anymore. But it's pretty cool, though, to see them in place. Like I said, with the advent of RNAV and GPS, you don't really need the Vortec anymore. But that's pretty cool. That thing's pretty slick. I don't know what it is. Maybe ChatGPT could tell us. Sitting on a trailer over there. Typical slow day. Kind of reminds me of the first airport I worked at in Manistee. Wasn't a whole lot going on there either. Pretty quiet. So ChatGPT says it can't tell completely, but looks like a home-built Formula One air racer similar to the Cassette 3. Does pay to have technology, because I wouldn't know what that is at all. But yeah, it's pretty cool here. Pretty quiet. Guess we'll mosey on down the road and check out the next stop. But it was cool. I wonder here, I mean, the desert's perfect. That's why you see aircraft storage facilities in the desert, because they're pretty good climates for keeping aircraft in generally good working condition. And so, but yeah, we'll mosey our way back to Buckeye and go from there. Made it back to Illinois. Got a marathon dental appointment. Rode old White Lightning. It's that warm, 60 degrees down. Down to the water and over to the dentist. But it was a good trip all in all. thank you for coming along. Probably go to a next one at some point, figure out whatever that looks like. But yeah, all in all, it was a pretty good trip. Can't complain. Got to see a lot of cool stuff. Got to meet people that are cool. People I knew, people I didn't know. So thanks for coming along on that. Until next time, friends, we'll see you down the runway.